Welcome back. So now what actually happens is that when I press this create button right here, then I'll be redirected or sent to another action method called create. Now that method will actually return, let me show you, this method right here will actually return another view, and that view will be this view, right? And that just has the go back button right now. So what we want to do now is we want to add a form here to this view. So I kind of cheated here and just stole a form from, let me show you, from Bootstrap. Get bootstrap.com. There's an example on how to use a form, basic example, inline, horizontal, different forms here, and you can go and look at them. There are so many great examples. This is if you want it in a single line. This is if you want a more horizontal form, etc., etc. So they made a lot of great forms for you, and again, what makes them pretty is pretty much the class here. So it's using their CSS, right? So I kind of stole this form, and it looks just like the one we built earlier. It has the form tag, it has a method of post. Notice it's not get, it's a method of post, right? And then it has an action to send myself back to the create. Now that's kind of weird, because the create one, we just made that here, right? This here. But that's not the one we're going to use next. Now we're going to make a new one. We're going to make a new create function, and this time it's going to be a post function. So we're going to make another public action result, and this time we want an action result to be create again, but this time it's actually going to be a post in the action verbs. So remember the term again, action verbs. You just put it here and you say HTTP post, and now it's actually a post request. So I can pass in some information now, and in this case it's going to be a person we pass in, and all we need to do is just like we did down here. We want to just add the person to the list. Actually, I want to do a bit more because I'm not sending in an ID, so we want to add an ID to the person when he comes in here. Let's say ID equals, and let's just make a static ID that can kind of count for us the entire setup. So just like we have a static class here, I'll just make a private static ID, person ID. It's going to start out by, it needs to be an int, of course, and a person ID is just going to start out with 1, and then we're going to use that down here, saying person ID plus plus and person ID plus plus. Again, I know we're using a fake database, so it looks kind of ugly, but we will make it shiny later. So again, person ID plus plus means that I'm going to add the person ID, and I'm going to add one for the next person to be added. So now we're sending in the person with a new name like John, and then we add his ID, and then we save the person and redirect ourselves to the main page, right? So now we have two pages working together. And let's just have a look at this, because we made this before, but it's kind of different because we added a class of form group now, we added a label, and we added again a class of form control. So this just makes it shinier because we're using now the Bootstrap syntax instead of the plain form. So it just makes it a bit shinier. And then in the end here we have a submit button, and that's going to say save user like this. And then we also have a back button, and yeah, we should probably add some kind of, let's just add a break line here. It'll be ugly as hell right now, but doesn't matter. No, let's actually add a horizontal line and HR here. Let's try and see how that looks. Again, it's not going to be that pretty yet, but I'm not trying to make it perfect. I just want to show you guys how you can actually use buttons and how you can use the styles from the Bootstrap framework to actually make things shinier, at least than what they are with the pure plain HTML. So let's try and see this in action. Let's actually not start on the create page. I want to start on the index page right here. The reason that it went into the create page again is that I've selected the create page here, and when I press start here, it'll go into the page you currently have selected. So let this start up and let's see what we actually got right now. So it pops up now, and we have our two people here. I'll press the add button, and then I can type in a name. Notice this is kind of what let me just show you in the form. This is there's something called the placeholder here, and that's kind of what makes it type name pop in here without me having written anything yet. So it's just a placeholder. And then I have the save user here, and I can also go back if I want to. Now we want to try and save the user, and let's call this guy Johnny and press save user. I'm redirected back, and here's Johnny now. I'll press the add button again. I'll now type new guy, Bill. I'll press save user again. And now Bill is also added, right? So now we have something that starts working. It's kind of fun. If I change my mind, I can just go back. So it's a real application now. And notice that it actually took 2 views, but it actually took 3 different action methods right now. The index action method, and when I press the add button, I'm redirected to the create action method, but in this case, it's a get action method, okay? So that's a get when I do the first click. Now, when I actually add something here like Ole, and I press save user, I'm actually hitting the create again. Let me show you. I'm actually hitting the create again, but this time it's going to be a post. So let's do a save user. Notice that it pops up here with the create function again, person create, but this time it's a post, and then it's redirected back to the actual /persons to show the entire setup. So that's all that there is. Now we have a way to create new people in a beautiful table using some pretty style sheet. Woo! Good job, everybody. Next, let's try and play around with the edit button. See you next time.